want to show you a really simple way to thread a needle. It can be quite tricky because the eye of the needle is really small, and sometimes when we get our thread it can be really tricky to actually try and get our thread through the hole. So a good way of doing that instead is by getting a small bit of paper, making sure that your paper is small enough to fit through the eye of the needle. Then by taking your cotton, your thread, you can place it inside the paper, fold the paper in half, and then if you are able to then thread the paper carefully all the way through, taking the thread with it. And that's a slightly easier way to thread a needle. Felt makes a great material to sew with. To start your sewing project, rather than trying to tie a knot in the end of your cotton, what I like to do is start off by going in and out with your cotton. Take your cotton almost to the end and hold it with your finger, and then go in and out of the same hole a few times. You can use this method to start and finish your sewing projects. So this is my third time through the same holes, and what I'm going to do this time, when I pull the loop through, when I've got almost to the end, I'm going to thread my needle through the little hole, through the loop of cotton, and then as I pull it, it forms a little knot. And that's how I start my projects. You can just give this little bit of thread here a trim. So we normally use sewing to join two bits of fabric together. So I'm going to place my two bits of fabric on top of each other like that, and the first stitch I'm going to do is called a running stitch, and this just simply goes down and up and down and up. Now you can take your needle in and out each time, or if you want to really look like a pro, you can go down a little bit and back up on the same stitch like that and pull through, so you're just working at the front. Try to keep your stitches as small as you can, because this will stop the holes and make your join much tighter. And there's our running stitch. Our next stitch we're going to do is back stitch. Now this is like running stitch, but every time you go up, you start again, you go backwards on yourself, so that you go, rather than going forward, you go back down the hole that your last stitch came out of, and then you go under your middle stitch and come back out on the other side. So you go back down your last hole and up on the other side. Back stitch is a little bit more secure than running stitch. It takes a little bit longer, but I also think it's really neat, and I think it can make your projects look really, really good. There we go, back stitch. So the final stitch I want to teach you is sometimes called whipping stitch and sometimes called overcasting. And with this one, we basically go round up and down the outside edge. So we go down on the outside and then we go up through the fabric. And so what this is doing, it's actually tying those two pieces of fabric together. To finish off our sewing, we're just going to do what we did at the beginning by going in and out of our fabric a few times through the same place. So we're just going to go up and down through the same holes, and on the second or third time through we're going to pull our thread until it's almost all the way through and it creates a little loop like that, and then we're going to poke our needle through that loop, and that's going to help our cotton to knot. And actually we can do that a few times if you want a really secure knot. If you do that a couple of times, you'll get a nice secure finish to your fabric. And then we can take our needle out, and finally we can trim off those ends using a pair of scissors, and the same with the first end as well. There we go. So there we have some different stitches for you to try on your projects too.